All right, hello and greetings to everybody out there on this wonderful evening of September the 10th, 2024. JV Wins and Dogon SS, we are back with a
You.
new video. Conscious Approach on YouTube. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button. We certainly appreciate the support. If this is your first time checking out any of the videos on this channel, this is pretty much what we like to do each and every upload, each and every week, each and every stream. So if you appreciate the commentary, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the video, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about these various topics, because we certainly appreciate the feedback as we continue to kick this logical content. Now, with the pleasantries out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started with the detainment. The detainment heard around the world. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver for the Dolphins. Shouts out to the Dolphins. On his way to the game on Sunday, was pulled over for alleged reckless driving and speeding by Miami-Dade PD, and things got out of pocket. He was allegedly uncooperative. He ended up getting wrangled from the inside of his car, and I think what has people riled up is the fact that he was on the pavement face first. One of the cops had a knee on his back, and then another guy just kind of randomly at one point ran over to forcibly make him sit down on a curb. And it just kind of looked excessive from some of the video that we've seen. As a result, there's, of course, been a lot of internet fallout, as well as some kind of actual fallout. One of the cops have been placed on administrative leave, as I would assume there is an internal investigation taking place to get to the bottom as to whether there was any improprieties involved here. It is my understanding that everyone's favorite race war lawyer, Ben Crump, has been called in. He's been signaled in. Somebody hit that Batman button. They turned on the bat signal and got Ben Crump on the job.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so he's involved apparently. And the Dolphins are in support of Hill, and this is pretty much making its usual it's making its usual place around sports talk radio and hip hop and urban radio, with everyone giving their 2 cents on the situation at hand. So pretty intense situation, at least for the last couple of days. But to provide some context for anyone who has been living under a rock and is unaware of this story, Tyreek Hill's pregame arrest leads to cop being put on administrative leave. The Miami-Dade Police Department placed the officer behind the arrest of Tyreek Hill on administrative leave. They had detained the Miami Dolphins star receiver prior to his game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. Miami-Dade Police Department Director Stephanie V. Daniels addressed the incident in a statement caught by CNN. Following the incident involving Tyreek Hill, I have initiated an internal affairs investigation to ensure a thorough review of the matter. One of the officers involved in the incident has been placed on administrative duties while the investigation is conducted. I'm committed to transparency and accountability to the community with any situation involving my officers. Hill discussed the incident with reporters after the game. I wasn't disrespectful because my mom didn't raise me that way, didn't cuss, didn't do none of that. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out. As for the team, they put out a statement on social media before the game. This morning, wide receiver Tyreek Hill was pulled over for a traffic incident about 1 block from the stadium and briefly detained by police. He has since been released. Several teammates saw the incident and stopped to offer support. Tyreek and all other players involved have safely arrived at the stadium and will be available for today's game. Shouts out to the win against the Jaguars. The Dolphins ended up being the Jaguars 2017, and so the rest of this is a whole bunch of rigmarole. So that's pretty much what we got going on. Administrative leave. We won't play any of the clips. Miami PD released the body cam footage. You can find that all over the internet yourself. It won't be hard to find. You can just Google Tyreek Hill body cam, or I'm pretty sure it's all over Neighborhood Talk on Instagram. It's everywhere. YouTube, you can find it. Not that hard to find. Did appear that the cops were being a bit overzealous in this particular situation, but We're going to talk about it here on Conscious Approach. So, overall, what do you make of what transpired with this particular situation, as well as the fallout, the different conversations taking place as a result of what happened here?
I think the main thing that I was concerned about, you know, just it was my fantasy team, and I had Tyreek going. I needed to represent for the crib, and I needed those points. So when I heard that this guy had a situation brewing, um, I wasn't surprised. Unfortunately, uh, Tyreek Hill. I mean, this whole situation, how he's going about his stint in Miami, it's been nothing but headlines after headlines. I mean, this is straight out of like a Hollywood type of situation where it's centered around football, and the star receiver for Miami is always getting into some stuff. And this is like straight out of a script in the sense of, yeah, just caught speeding in his high class vehicles around the stadium, and suffered police brutality. That would have been a hell of an episode. I'm sure maybe Ballers has an episode similar to this. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, man, this guy is just, he's been having a hell of a time since he's been in Miami. So that was my initial reaction. Was like, yeah, I'm really not surprised he made headlines yet again. Once I saw the body cam footage, my breakdown of that was, Tyreek was, he was dismissive, I would say, for lack of better words, of the whole situation, in the sense of, hey man, here's my stuff. I gotta get out of here. Give me my ticket. Let's go. And don't knock on my window like that. I think that was the big hang up. Don't knock on my window like that. And yeah, so I think Tyreek was just in a situation of just, hey, just do your job. Just let me get out of here. But I think from the cops' perspective, at least from what I can see from the body cam footage, probably the reason why this guy is getting reprimanded by his department is the sense that he was a little too, I would say, ego bruised by the whole situation. And I think he wanted to let Tyreek know who's boss around there. And, that's taking your job a little too far. And in that sense. So it was, did Tyreek have to be that way? Nah, he didn't have to be that way. But I think the cop really didn't have to be that way, in my opinion. Then once the whole tackling thing is going down and they got him, hands behind the back, knee in back, he wasn't giving any resistance. And from what I saw, it was three cops. And it was a bit aggressive, to be honest, just for a, I guess, standard traffic violation. But Tyreek, I don't know where he lives. I don't know if he's on Star Island or something like that. So he had a bit of a ride to get there. I'm pretty sure traffic was a little extra for him. And once I feel like, I'm pretty sure he was speeding leading up to that. But I'm pretty sure once he got around the stadium, he was like, okay, I'm home. So, I can speed around here. I'm Tyreek Hill. I'm getting to the game. So what's the big deal? So I think that's kind of how his whole situation, how he was reading that. Doesn't make it right. None of this situation to me is cool. And I think it's unfortunate, to be honest. So, but what are your thoughts on Tyreek Hill getting into a little dust up with the Miami PD near the stadium of all places? What are your thoughts?
The reason why the officer, let's be honest, the reason why there has a the reason why a reprimand is taking place
Mm-hmm.
is because people are framing this around the ongoing conversation of black people being victimized by cops. And you can't have that bad PR. No, you just can't touch that with a 10-foot pole. So even if internally everybody
Mm-hmm.
in that department feels as though the cop acted well within his, parameters, well
Mm-hmm.
within the scope of his duty,
Mm-hmm.
publicly they're going to be like, bro, look, you're going to have to fall on the sword here because we're not taking this, you know, I've often said, there's two different Americas. There's pre-2020, pre-George Floyd, and post-George Floyd. In post-George Floyd world, even if you think he was doing his job properly and Tyreek Hill was acting, to use your word, dismissively, publicly, you're going to have to ask this individual to fall on the shield, because as bad as this is now, it's
Mhm.
going to get even worse if this guy doesn't get some sort of punitive damage as a result. So that to me is the primary reason why he's being reprimanded, not because the police department actually feels as though he did something wrong.
I agree.
Not saying that he didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if privately those on his team feels as though he's in the right. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So that's why I think that this thing is that has taken place. With respect to my thoughts on the situation overall, you know, I often talk, there's been subjects on this channel where I talk about pie in the sky, rainbows and unicorns. You've heard me use those expressions.
Mhm.
There's like the world as we envision it to be, and then there's the world as it is actually constructed. I choose to analyze things based upon the world as it is presently constructed, because I have become cynical enough to believe that we will never reach the world as we intend for it to be. Now, we can wax poetically about how we would like the world to be, but look, man, and admittedly, I'm cynical. I have very little I have very little faith in humanity.
Damn.
Um, I have faith in individuals. I have very little faith in humanity in mass. Uh, humanity to me is selfish, self-absorbed, narcissistic, inconsiderate, obsessed with materialism, addicted to technology, low attention spans. Humanity in mass is far too gone over the deep end for me to believe that we can ever wrangle it back. So I have very little faith in humanity. And because I have very little faith in humanity, personally, I choose to analyze stories like this based upon the world as it is actually constructed,
Mhm.
not as we would like for it to be, because I don't think we'll ever have the opportunity to create a world as we would like for it to be. So being as such, and given the fact that I kind of look at things as this is the world as presently constructed, not rainbows and unicorns. People like this cop, these officers, I call them bad faith actors. They're going to be around forever. They're going to be here into perpetuity. And I think it is our responsibility to, even though it's wrong, do what is necessary to remove ourselves physically from that immediate environment so
Mhm.
that we can come and get back later. Like, I'm not saying that, because I was watching First Take earlier this morning, and they had Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, and Dominique Foxworth. And essentially Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp are like, hey, Tyreek, we know it's messed up, but you have a responsibility to make sure that you're still around so that you can continue to live your life and do what you got to do. And Foxworth was like, I hear all of that, but let's not lose the plot of making sure that we are clear in expressing our dismay over the fact that the cop has a responsibility to conduct his job accordingly. And part of an officer's job is to de-escalate situations. And, he's right about that. But I also kind of say to myself, Tyreek or individuals in his particular position have the wherewithal to do and behave in certain ways that can enable you to remove yourself from that environment as quickly as possible. Not that you're in the wrong, but you just need to get out of there as quickly as possible
Mhm.
so that you can gather the resources necessary to make lives for some of these perpetrators as miserable as possible. And that's kind of where I am at this point. My whole thing is, this is the way the world is. I have very little faith in humanity. There's always going to be bad faith actors. There's always going to be bad cops. Just like there are bad lawyers, there's bad judges, there's bad business people. There's bad owners, there's bad CEOs and entrepreneurs. There's just bad apples amongst the rotten bunch of humans. And at the point where you become a target for any of these various entities, in that moment in time, when you have the lowest position of leverage, you are best served to do what you need to do to get out of there so that you can gather your wits and gather your resources and come back in full force. And I would imagine that that is going to happen at some point. I personally expect at least one of these guys to be fired because the heat's just going to be too much. And you often talk about how rhetoric alone isn't enough to sort of change behavior and change the way bad people do bad things. You also have to act with your wallet and your financial muscle and your capital. And I agree with that completely. And, as whatever place ideologically, morally, personally, whatever place that these individuals were coming from, which caused them to be a bit rambunctious with how they handled Tyreek, they're not going to cease to be that way, no matter what happens to them. But what's best for the community at large is if they're no longer in a position to enforce the law, quote unquote. So just make it punitive. Make it punitive. Make sure that their livelihoods are hit in substantial ways. Make sure that their professional lives are hit in substantial ways. Just get them out of there. See to it that they can no longer operate within the scope of the parameters of law enforcement. They'll continue to do these things and believe this and whatever. I'm not speculating. Whatever emotions or circumstances that may or may not have led to them acting in kind, if they don't have a badge, then they just can't, dispense that kind of justice to others whenever they feel whenever they feel the need to do so necessarily. So I'm not copping for any of these guys who did this. I think it was excessive, but I also think that rhetoric alone isn't going to change this stuff. You got to make it punitive. And if it's me and this happens to me, I'm going to do what I can so that I can physically remove myself from the situation as much as possible so that I can get my lawyers together, get my resources together, sue the cops, sue the department, hit them financially, make it as punitive as I possibly can, get them fired, because within the scope of where I sit as an everyday person, a citizen, that's the best that I can do, given the fact that otherwise I have very little faith in humanity and rhetoric alone being effective enough to change things, because it won't. So you just got to hit people where they hurt, and the way that you hit people where they hurt is hit their jobs, hit their pockets, hit their money, hit their livelihoods. Is it going to change their thinking or their behavior? No, but they are not going to be able to be in positions to do this kind of stuff anymore. So that's what I have to say in this particular situation. In summation, just see to it that you can get out of there. And I do think, if I'm being honest, based upon what I saw in the body cam, there were subtle moments throughout that exchange where it didn't have to go down that way. And I do think Tyreek unwittingly contributed to it going down that way because he was naturally defensive. And I get that. And I'm not saying that he was wrong for being that way. I probably would have been acting the same way. But you kind of have to see the bigger picture. I'm going to get out of here as quickly as possible, and then I'm going to come for you later. And so I think we need to just kind of remember that, live today to fight tomorrow kind of thing. Death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you will. Mm-hmm. You just got to get rid of these people. Don't worry about them learning their lesson and seeing the light, and maybe they can change. People aren't going to change. And that's where the cynic in me comes in. People aren't going to change. You just got to get rid of them. Get them fired, hit their pockets, hit their money, hit their livelihoods, and hit their profession. Just get them out of here. So that's pretty much what I surmise from that whole deal.
Yeah, well said, man. And I think that maybe I don't know if he's going to get fired, maybe some department transfer. So he might be up in Palm Beach or something, or somewhere on Fort Myers, Boynton Beach. And they just move him. And that'll be that situation. And, they'll do the whole thing as far as him taking anger management courses. And, it's going to be documented that, this guy learned his lesson. That's what's going to happen with this. But I think also another conversation that's going on is, and it's not funny when it comes to police brutality and cops, displaying aggression. They got this thing going out there in social justice world called microaggressions, and you know as a everyday black person, I would say, just living my life, going grocery shopping, buying gas. Okay. Yeah, I just go about my business. I park the car and I walk, and or do whatever, even in my apartment complex. But I mean, as I walk through parking lots, I'm pretty sure everybody hears it, but I don't know, it feels a little aggressive when people start, when they see me, because they already honked their alarm, and then they saw me walking, and then they honk again their alarm. Negro walking towards me, he might try to steal something out of my vehicle. Beep, 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 beep. And I experienced that a lot. Women clutching purses, going other directions, stuff like that. And it's because of the perception of us, in other communities. 50 Cent shows aren't helping, right? So, because they authentically represent who I am. So genuinely, when I'm walking down the street, people think I'm about to sell a brick or rob them. So naturally, people have this inclination to be weary of these aggressive human beings, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way in the cop world, where they want to make sure that they have enough umph to, take on this black man. So they got to bring their A game, because this gorilla man might might outpower me. So they got to, hey, hey. And Tyreek was not resisting, from what I saw, but it took three guys, to make sure, because from what I understand from cops is they take it to the next level because they're making sure they make it home. So when they're up in the ante like that, again, for I don't know what reason, for him to say, get out of the, matter of fact, and swing open his car door. Now, I'm pretty sure that is some type of Miranda right violation or something. So, I don't know what that was about, but yeah, just swing the door open and yank the man out of the vehicle. It was a bit extra. So, but again, I think it just ties into how we're perceived, and Tyreek didn't help in that situation. And there's also things where, um, after you say post George Floyd, where people are in this situation of, I have to have that conversation with my son,
Yeah.
or women have to have that conversation with my son on how to behave with the cops. And, you do. And the way Tyreek did it, that's not how you do it. And if he is banging extra aggressive, let him have it. If he's yelling at you and doing all this extra stuff, let him have it. They got body cams. So, yeah, like you said, man, just, get out of there. Here you go. What else do you need? And then get out of there. Yeah, that doesn't always work if the person is extra aggressive. So, but that's your best bet. So Tyreek just saying, hey, don't do that, rolling up windows, doing all of these extra things. Yeah, it just went into that bucket. And if because the guy sound a bit, South Floridian, Hispanic accent.
Yeah.
So if it's somebody in his community, he's probably going to be a lot more understanding because he understands where that frustration is coming from. But when somebody's outside his community is doing that, then he's taking it as a threat. So, yeah, man, that comes from, he needs training classes, but like the stuff that I was saying earlier, man, that led into this stuff, a lot of this stuff has been trained and conditioned amongst other people outside of our community to view us in a particular way. And a training course may not do that for him or the department. So yeah, man, it's just one of those weird situations of you got to treat these people like a matador. And when the bull is rushing, just olay and bull rushing olay and just get out of the arena. You don't have to take the bull head on. Why? What point are you trying to prove? You're gonna be in the stands if you try to go heads up with a bull. So just let the guy have it and then get out of there. And as you say, take action later.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. So I will say that, to the people out there, nothing cool about police brutality, nothing cool about abuse, police abusing their power. I've seen those situations happen to people that I know. So it happens to everyday people. So yeah, nothing cool about it. But Tyreek did get out of there. He had a nice little celebration during the game after he scored. Doing the whole he got arrested with Waddle thing. So he's having light with it. But yeah, hopefully he's around for week 2 because I
Yeah.
needed those 29 points this past week.
Yeah. I was able to get him on one of my teams, but not the other one. Damn it. Uh, he's a walking 100+ yards a game. It's amazing what he does, yo.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he is a beat. Yeah, it's amazing how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, I just think that you have to look at the bigger picture. I agree with you 100%. Shouts out to the wonderful Danielle, the Wanderer. She and I were talking about this a couple days ago when it initially went down, and I was basically trying to elocute myself, but I guess I wasn't doing it effectively enough, and so it kind of got somewhat interpreted as I was saying Tyreek should have done better and he got himself in that situation. I don't think that. I just think that people suck. And when you're living in a world where people suck, you being aware that people suck should do what you have to do to physically remove yourself. So, like, it's not Tyreek Hill's job to de-escalate stuff like this. Just like
Mm-hmm.
it's not my job or your job to de-escalate these types of encounters. It's actually the cops' job. That's what they're supposedly trained to do.
Mm-hmm.
As law enforcement officers, they're trained to de-escalate situations. But as you just intimated, like most, like, let's be honest, like, just speaking about this honestly, real quick, people who are in these positions of power bring their life biases with them
Mm-hmm.
into these positions of power, and then they conduct themselves within the scope of their jobs accordingly. So, people have their biases, they have their forms of conditioning that was impressed upon them for years and years and years and years, way before they became police officers. And I only bring that up to say light reprimands and talk isn't going to rehabilitate these guys or these
Mm-hmm.
individuals. They're going to continue to think like this. So the best way to save face with these kinds of things is to just have the wherewithal to do what you got to do so that you can physically get out of there. And then you can just come back and hit them where it hurts. I'm pretty sure Tyreek has all of the resources necessary to put enough pressure on these individuals, financially, of course, is what I mean. Money will do anything. Money can fix a lot, not fix, but money can achieve a lot of things. And Lord knows he has that 150+ million in the bank. I think this guy's going to end up getting fired. And I think maybe a couple more of these officers are going to receive a reprimand. But I think the main perp is going to end up getting fired. It might seem like a long shot, but he might get fired. If enough people complain about that, he'll end up getting fired. And at the end of the day, we're going to have to settle for that, I guess, because you're not going to eradicate bad faith actors from the world. People are going to continue to have their beliefs, their ideologies, their points of view. They're going to continue to think the way they think about certain things and people. And there's no amount of firings or anything that's going to change that. But what can change is their ability to affect others based upon what they may do for a living or their physical proximity to others, given the amount of power that's bestowed upon them uh, based on what they do professionally. And if you remove that from them, then they can continue to think that stuff and do these things and act that kind of way, but they're not going to be able to affect other people. So I just say hit them where it hurts and make it punitive. Shouts out to Worms on the chat. He asked, was that his first time getting arrested? No, he's been arrested before.
Yeah,
He's been arrested a couple times before.
yeah, he's had
domestic, domestic violence stuff. Yeah, he's been arrested before. And then Terrence McClennan is also in the chat. He said Fort Myers. I guess he was referencing where the cop might get
yeah, he's going to Fort Myers.
Yeah. But yeah, shouts out to Tyreek Hill, man. Continue to crush it. And it is what it is. People suck. Just get out of there and then come back and hit them where it hurts. That's what I say.
Yeah, 100. 100.
Yeah. Now we have another story that has people going crazy.
For what? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either, but people are going crazy over this. Kendrick Lamar has been chosen to perform at halftime of this year's Super Bowl. What's the Roman numeral again? Is it 59?
Yeah,
is
59.
it Super Bowl 59? Okay, so yeah, Kendrick is going to be performing at the Super Bowl this year, and people are losing their minds over this. A lot of people believe that Lil Wayne should have been selected, and Jay-Z has become the target for a lot of people's dismay over the fact that Kendrick was chosen over Lil Wayne. They are hollering collusion. They are outraged. They think this is a travesty. They think Lil Wayne has been given a grave disservice as a result of Kendrick being chosen to perform at this show. For anyone who does not know, Jay-Z, through his Rock Nation imprint, brokered a deal with the NFL a few years ago to be responsible for selecting who performs at the halftime of the Super Bowl. I am not exactly sure how many years this contract goes for. I'm pretty sure you can look up that information for yourself, but that's the reason why Jay-Z has been sort of zeroed in by people who are outraged because it should have been Wayne and not Kendrick. So this says Jay-Z explains why Kendrick Lamar was chosen to perform at Super Bowl halftime show. Jay-Z has explained his reasoning behind selecting Kendrick Lamar as the headlining performer at the Apple Music Super Bowl 2025 halftime show, a decision that was announced on Sunday. The hip-hop icon and NFL music strategist released a statement coinciding with news of Lamar being tapped to take the stage during the halftime show, which will take place during Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, Louisiana in February 2025. Kendrick Lamar is truly a once-in-a-generation artist and performer. His deep love for hip-hop and culture informs his artistic vision. He has an unparalleled ability to define and influence culture globally. Kendrick's work transcends music, and his impact will be felt for years to come. News of Kendrick being named the performer for the Apple Music Super Bowl 2025 halftime show received mixed reactions from the public, as some critics felt other artists may have been more deserving of the selection. One name who fans and musical figures felt would be a more appropriate performer for the occasion is Lil Wayne, particularly since Super Bowl 59 will take place in New Orleans, the rap legend's hometown, being that Kendrick previously performed during the star-studded Super Bowl halftime show held by Dr. Dre in 2022, and that Lil Wayne has publicly campaigned for the opportunity, made the decision seemingly that much more polarizing. Fellow Louisiana native Master P shared his thoughts on Jay-Z and the NFL potentially spoiling what could have been a special moment for Southern culture by opting for Kendrick Lamar to perform over Lil Wayne. The mogul echoed many fans' thoughts that Lil Wayne should be included as part of the Super Bowl halftime show in some form or fashion. As ambassador of entertainment in the city of New Orleans, I have to agree with the fans that Lil Wayne should be a part of this celebration as well. He's one of the greatest hip-hop artists alive, still relevant, and he's a New Orleans native. Let's not miss this cultural moment in the South. Life is too short. We have to give our legends their flowers while they are still here. Earlier this year, Lil Wayne expressed his desire to perform during the Super Bowl halftime show, admitting that he was praying to be chosen as the headliner. However, he said that he had yet to receive any indication that he was up for consideration. I will not lie to you. I have not got a call or nothing. We praying, we keeping our fingers crossed. I'm working hard. I'm gonna make sure this next album and everything I do is killer. I want to just make it hard for them not to holler at the boy. I could be like Rihanna. Riri came out there and just went from year to year to year to year. All right, so there you have it. We have a bunch of people have basically just said Jay Z tripping. It should have been Lil Wayne. This is a problem. Cameron said something. Master P, we just saw that. Nicki Minaj went off. So a bunch of people are going off talking about how bad this is because it should have been Wayne and not Kendrick. What are your thoughts on the outrage over Kendrick being chosen to perform instead of Wheezy?
I can't believe I'm gonna sit here and defend Jay-Z with this. But I mean, this is to me, this is all business. This is business. The reason why Jay-Z tapped Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg when they was out there on the West Coast was there was no hits. There was no bangers. There were no anthems out there for them to call in, somebody in particular that would bring in the revenue and be good business. But it just so happened that the Super Bowl, where it's going to be in New Orleans, that Kendrick Lamar just had, the banger of the decade so far. So how do you not bring Kendrick to the Super Bowl as the headliner? Because I think he just did, well, not just, but when he did his little concert or whatever, and they were streaming it, that was going crazy. The numbers on that was insane. Everybody was watching it. So it's going to be the same thing for this Super Bowl, where everybody's going to be watching, where the song went global, so everybody knows it. Everybody knows about the beef. So this is black, white, old, young. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows about this. So why not headline him to keep the ratings and everything boosting and going? Because I'm pretty sure part of his Rock Nation deal with the league is that there's going to be metrics getting reported all the time about this stuff. So he can do the noble thing for the culture and and bring in Lil Wayne, who doesn't have a hit right now. It'll be a nice little nostalgic type of thing, but this is not the year for it. We actually have a banger. So we're gonna bring in Kendrick Lamar. To me, it just makes business sense. So for people to be so up in arms about this time around, this ain't the first time the Super Bowl done passed through New Orleans. So I don't get what the gripe is about now. I guess because Jay-Z, he's supposed to be the representative of the culture, so he's supposed to hold it down. But no, Jay-Z represents business. He represents bottom line, and Kendrick Lamar is bottom line. So I don't see any. When I saw the thing that Kendrick was going to be for the Super Bowl thing, I was like, makes sense. Makes sense to me. I was just trying to enjoy football, and they made the announcements. I was like, okay, well, why wouldn't he? And then I'm hearing all this backlash and all this other stuff, and I'm like, come on, man, just look at the business thing of this. So, as the ambassador of entertainment, Master P, I guess do your job and have Wayne be somewhere in there. But I'm pretty sure if Wayne isn't going to be headlining or whatever, he might not even want to be a part of anything. So, he doesn't want to be, I don't know, who knows. But there's a way to get Lil Wayne involved with the weekend. It doesn't have to be the Super Bowl show. And I guess, like as the article mentioned, Wayne's desire to want to do it is what making people really, really go to bat for him. But I'm sorry, Wayne, you can try to make an album now that's a banger, that's gonna, whatever, but it's a little too late. But honestly, man, it might be the most fierce thing Wayne done came out in years. because he's actually motivated about something. So who knows? Fingers crossed, I guess, for that. But sorry, everybody, I can't rock with this whole throwing Jay-Z under the bus for this. I'll throw him under a bus for a lot of things, but honestly, this is just Jay-Z being Jay-Z, and his thing is being a businessman. And to me, Kendrick makes good business sense, so I would do the same thing. Sorry, everybody. But what are your thoughts, man, on Jay-Z calling on Kendrick, and everybody's up in arms about it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's no precedent for the complaints. Like if you look through the history,
Mm-hmm.
so I just went back to 1997. The
Mm.
Super Bowl was in New Orleans in 1997. The performers at halftime were the Blues Brothers with ZZ Top. That
Yeah.
there's no ties to New Orleans there. The Super Bowl was in New Orleans in 2002. The halftime performer was U2. They're not from New Orleans. In 2013, it was at New Orleans, and the performer was Destiny's Child. They're not from New Orleans. And then this year, it's in New Orleans again, and it's Kendrick. There's absolutely no precedent for not for any of the Super Bowls in New Orleans to have a performer that's from the city of New Orleans. Let alone is there also no longer a precedent for there being any prioritization made of putting a performer who's from the whole city to perform at halftime of the Super Bowl. It was a coincidence that they happened to do it with Dr. Dre when it was in LA. But I think that's what has people so up in arms. I guess the hip hop world thought that there was a new precedent being established
Right.
after Dr. Dre did it, that it
Right.
was going to be somebody from the whole city, and so that was
Right.
the expectation. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who sent that memo. I never saw it, so I don't know why people are so up in arms about it. Like to me, there's no precedent for it. So if you had the expectation that that was going to continue, then Boo Boo the Fool, you look kind of like you had unrealistic expectations because no one confirmed that. So all of the rest of these rappers and these has-been hip hop people running around, these Nicki Minaj people, Cameron. And I got respect for Cameron, the content creator, but I feel like these individuals are just piling on
Mm-hmm.
to go along with a wave that is popular right now, which is let's talk about how Lil Wayne got done dirty. It's the popular thing to do at this moment in time,
Mm-hmm.
given this particular announcement. And there's no precedent for it. So I really don't see where the complaints are coming from. I really don't think they have a ground to stand on. Furthermore, like you, I agree. Lil Wayne is, for lack of a better word, given his longevity and where he was at his peak, I guess one can consider him to be a legend. So if he were to be chosen, he'd be doing catalogs of what he's been doing, of what he's done in years past. Because Lil Wayne now, I'm not, and I'm not. This is not to disrespect him. I just don't know who's checking for him now. And I'm not trying to be disparaging towards Wayne. He's just entered into that phase in his career where he's kind of like an elder statesman. He's not really actively making music like that. This is a gripe that I have with rappers who get older. They become less active and then they complain about not getting the respect that they deserve. Well, you kind of have to stay relevant and continue to be active. That's why Nas continues to get so much respect by audiences young and old. It doesn't really matter what age it is, because in the last 3 or 4 years, Nas has put out 6 albums. Like the guy's almost 50 years old, but he's active as hell. Ever since he linked up with Hit Boy, he's put out 6 albums between King's Disease and Magic over the last couple years, a few years. So you got to be able to keep. I understand or not. I understand Wayne has an impressive, classic, long catalog historically. But when you're talking about corporate events like the Super Bowl, there's an aspect of current relevance that kicks in, which can inform one on why a decision such as this has been made.
Mm.
And whether you like it or not, in terms of current relevance, Kendrick is beating Lil Wayne currently. I mean, between the Drake thing and I guess the Half Stepper album that came out back in 2022. So I
Mm.
guess from a solo album standpoint, Kendrick has been a bit quiet the last couple years, but he exploded with this beef stuff.
Yeah,
And
man.
so musically, he's just more on the radar than Lil Wayne is, for better or for worse. I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong. It just is what it is. Furthermore, and I'll say this real quick, this made complete sense to me in terms of this selection. The NFL is corporate America. The NFL is one of these corporations that tries to make sure that it's perceived to be on the right side of history. I've mentioned that before. This might be a bit out there for some people, but I'm still going to say it anyway. It's a theory of mine. But you know, the NFL, they're lock and step with social justice advocacy, and they're all over the place with ending racism and trying to, you know, stem the tide of inequality. They want to make the world a better place, right? So they want to be perceived as being on the right side of history. They love everybody. They don't like inequality. They don't like hate. They want to get rid of all of that kind of stuff. They're still doing stop hate in the end zone, end racism in the end zone at stadiums. They're still doing these things. You know, some of these organizations, they still have these little monikers on the helmets, end racism, stop hate, all this good stuff. The NFL is firmly entrenched in the idea that they have a responsibility to at least be perceived to be on the right side of history. And I think that they are going to select performances, especially with somebody like Jay-Z involved, to reinforce this notion. And I think in that way, Kendrick does that more than Wayne. Wayne has never really put himself out there as a social justice as a social justice advocate, or somebody who's an orator who speaks on behalf of the downtrodden. Wayne hasn't really done that too much. Wayne is more of a, you know, run of the mill, money, cars, clothes, women. This is what he raps about. This is kind of what Wayne is. That's his track record as an artist. And Kendrick's track record as an artist is someone who is on a higher vibrational plane, and he actually lends his voice to societal issues, which is right up the current NFL's alley. Even if it's forced and not real, it nevertheless is right up the NFL's alley. And so I think that this is a perfect marriage in terms of ideology and the kind of artist who can align with that kind of ideology. And I think that that made the decision to pick Kendrick all the more easy. And you know, Jay-Z is one of these people who himself, in his, you know, in the latter stages of his mogul status, not Jay-Z the rapper, but certainly Jay-Z the entrepreneur, and Jay-Z the business person, and Jay-Z the person who made his last two albums. He's all over the place talking about this stuff: inequality, racism, injustices, and all of this kind of stuff. You know, so this to me makes sense from that standpoint. I don't really get the outcry over Wayne not being selected. There really is no precedent for that. Just because he's from New Orleans, that don't make no sense. If you go and do your easy research, you will see that there is no precedent for anybody performing at this show being from the whole city, let alone New Orleans. So I think all of those people talking about this, complaining about it, hollering over it, can, you know, go cry me a river.
Yeah, man. And I think it's also just because I agree with that angle too, in the sense that the NFL, post George Floyd, uh, they definitely leaned into that stuff. Um, not so much after Kaepernick, but it was after 2020. It was the 2020 stuff that really got them doing that stuff. So this is, yeah, man, this is multiple birds with stones. Um, he fits the build, as you mentioned, as far as um, the image. And like I said, he had the hit. And, they're going to play Not Like Us out there, and everybody knows that song. So it just made sense. It just so happened to fall in the wrong year, I guess. Because if this is next year where there's nothing going on and blah, 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 then it was in New Orleans. It was like, damn, who the hell can we get? Hey, let's get Lil Wayne. Duh, that makes sense. A lot of people want to watch that. And yeah. So even if they did it, with Wayne this year, a lot of people were going to watch it, but it'll be for a particular audience. And there are people in other communities that love Lil Wayne, absolutely. But this again, Kendrick's song transcended stuff, and everybody knows it. So it'll be a thing where when he's up there, it's gonna keep retention. People aren't just gonna walk off during the halftime show. And like I said, like I mentioned, man, he's got there's numbers being reported with these things to just track his performance to see if this guy's actually worth more money, or whatever. And then if Jay-Z can point to these numbers, like, look at these numbers that I'm doing for these halftime shows. So book me again. And this time I want this much. So it's business, man. He ain't got no time to be out here, appeasing people. When did Jay-Z ever do that? Jay-Z was all about his cash always. And this is just right in line with that. So, yeah, I think that this fits Jay-Z. This fits the NFL. This is just a perfect thing. This could have been in Indianapolis this year. It would have been Kendrick Lamar. If it was in New York this year, it was going to be Kendrick Lamar because of what he did. So people just need to get over it, man. And yeah, they need to get over it and understand you're dealing with a corporate entity where the bottom line is always the bottom line. And to hell with your feelings. You think they care about people's feelings? They care about money. So yeah, man. So these people they can continue to cry a river, man. But it's gonna fall on deaf ears. You're crying to a corporate entity,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be laughing at you once those millions of viewers were watching this year's halftime more than the last 5 years. Because that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna say this year's halftime it's the highest rated since Janet Jackson nip slip.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why not? And then Jay-Z and them gonna pop champagne, and the NFL, yeah, they're gonna be chumming it up. Hey, it was in everybody's house again. So yeah, I'm sorry, people, man. And I see what you're doing, JV Wins, bro. You be picking these topics where I'm gonna be agreeing. I'm gonna be agreeing with this person. Man, I'm on to you, man. It's like the third time you've done this, man.
Hey, man, you can go whichever way you want, man. I ain't trying to, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, bro.
I hear you, bro.
But hey, listen, it is, yeah, this stuff is about money, man. Like these, I've gotten these rappers and these hip hop people are just, they annoy me sometimes. They complain about the dumbest stuff. Do your research. Look up a basic Google search. Like, don't just shoot off at the hip and get on your Twitter and start complaining about something that you don't have no idea what you're talking about. Nicki Minaj, and I get it. She's sitting there defending her guy. Wayne is her guy. But where is the precedent for this historically? There isn't any. So I don't know what y'all thought was going to happen. And this is a corporate dog and pony show.
Yep.
And you're right, it is going to smash ratings. It is going to smash ratings because and when it does, everybody who's doing the complaining is going to look like idiots for having complained in the first place about something that doesn't really measure up. And I would imagine that Kendrick might just bring Wayne out there as a guest or something. I mean, that's happened before. So we'll see, but I think this is people personally, and this is because as an artist, Jay-Z is my all-time favorite. He remains that, but I do feel differently about what he's been doing basically since 2003. As the business entity that he is, and some of the stuff that he's been standing for, and the contradictions between what he's a spokesperson on behalf of and what his music was for the first decade of his career. And I have to reconcile that because despite me saying that, I still say that he's my all-time favorite musically. But I think that people take chances to get their frustrations out over him with things like this. Like, these individuals probably don't like Jay-Z for other reasons, but they're using this as their opportunity to lash out against him because it's low-hanging fruit. But they probably got other reasons to have issues, and they got problems with Jay-Z stemming from other stuff. So And I'm not saying that Jay-Z's in the right or wrong for that. I'm just saying things tend to happen like that these days, where it's like we don't like this person, so when little things like this happens, it becomes a triggering event, which gives us the opportunity to go at them, and we're using this as the stage to bitch at them, but really we're complaining about other things. And I think that this might be an example of that, especially with people like Cameron, who have a well-documented past of having issues with Jay-Z over things that happened years and years ago. So it is what it is, but I think that this made sense personally.
Yep, I agree, man. Wow.
All right, so next up we have Beyonce. And speaking of, this is more outrage. I guess this is the outrage
Yeah.
stream of the
Yes.
week. But there's more outrage because Beyonce was not nominated for a single country music award for her
Oh,
for her Cowboy Carter
are
album.
you serious?
Yeah, man. So yeah, people are outraged. They're incensed. They demand answers because
Wow.
Beyonce was not nominated for a country music award for her Cowboy Carter album this year. So we can get this up here. So this says Beyonce fans are livid after Cowboy Carter gets zero country music awards nominations. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter is one of 2024's biggest is one of 2024's big pop culture moments, due in part to the genre conversation that it created. Moreover, it wasn't the first time that music listeners debated over black erasure in country music and how racial bias impacts stereotypical stylistic categorization, whatever the hell that means. Um, However, it was probably the biggest discussion on this topic in a while, and it just got a whole lot spicier. Moreover, this year's Country Music Awards did not nominate the album nor its artist for a single award, despite it being one of the highest grossing country projects of the year. Not even some of the LP's biggest hits could get some love. Of course, the Beehive is absolutely outraged by this, although it's sadly not very surprising considering the contentious genre dynamics we referred to earlier. But Cowboy Carter and Beyonce definitely deserved at least something. This is all pretty ironic because while the Country Music Awards refused to acknowledge her work, folks like Donald Trump still tried to use her music for their own gain. It's a cyclical and parasitic relationship sometimes, but the Texas native is big enough to where she can sidestep a lot of these consequences. Elsewhere, another source of outrage for Beyonce fans was okay, so that's irrelevant to the conversation. So, yeah, people don't like this. So, here is a post from Neighborhood Talk on Instagram. Snubbed or nah, Beyonce receives zero Country Music Award nominations despite having one of the highest grossing country songs and albums this year. Neighbors get into this. The Beehive is ready to sting the Country Music Awards committee after Beyonce received zero nominations at this year's awards, despite having an outstanding year in the genre. Beyonce's eighth studio album, Cowboy Carter, was one of the year's biggest country albums, having spent 4 weeks on top of Billboard Top Country Albums chart. She was the first black woman to achieve this feat. Her song Texas Hold'em reached number one on the Hot 100 chart, making it one of her highest selling singles to date. The song topped the country charts for 10 weeks straight. Despite these achievements, the CMAs decided not to nominate Beyonce for any category, even though she qualified for categories like Single of the Year, Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, Music Event of the Year, and Entertainment of the Year. Two of Beyonce's Cowboy Carter collaborators did score nominations, though. Post Malone and Shabuzi. Malone, who just recently dabbled, I think they mean dabbled, who recently dabbled into country music, received 4 nominations, while Shabuzi, who had a breakout year after being featured on 2 songs on Cowboy Carter, received 2 nominations. What do y'all think of Beyonce? Do y'all think Beyonce was snubbed? So I, of course, open that up to the conscious approach floor. Do you think that Beyonce was snubbed here?
Boy, that's a tough one. No, I don't think she was snubbed here. I just think that they didn't know. I guess that's what the article was trying to mention with that word, but I don't really know. I mean, it's classified as a country, album. I just Google searched, top albums of this year, country albums, and her name's in there, so it's considered country. But I just think it's one of those things where, I think she's just gonna have to put in some work. Not just come over and just like a sprinter just hopping into the hurdles and yeah, you fast, but this is a whole different type of thing. And I think what they were like was like, look, yeah, you can come over here to the hurdles and run and compete and beat other people, but you're making a spectacle out of the hurdles. And we have to see if you're really like about this life type of thing. And I think for her, yeah, I think she's just gonna have to make more country music and double down on this. So the Academy or whatever these people are could consider her serious about this and not some grifter coming over here to just snatch up awards over here too. So I think that's kind of how they're looking at this, and they're looking at her as a grifter, not really about that country life. And I agree. We had the topic. We covered the topic about her, getting in the country and black people in country, and how black countries originally started by black people. So how can you appropriate something you created and all this other stuff? And it's like, okay, yeah, we get all of that. Okay, but at the same time, okay, this academy or whoever is giving out these awards, okay, that wasn't created. That wasn't created by us. That was created by a group of people who have their own criteria for country. And I don't think she fit within the parameters. Now they could say the Shabuzi guy who featured on Beyonce, well, how he getting because that's what that guy does. He's country. So he's gonna get it. Okay, well, what about Post Malone? I think Post Malone has made this shift. I don't think this was his first year making this shift. I think he's been doing this for like a couple years now. So you just got to put in work to show that you're really over here doing country, and then you're going to get acknowledged. So she does another country album, this time around or whatever. And then the next time around when she does a country album and it charts and do all the stuff that it did now, and then she wins an award, it wouldn't be because people were complaining now. I really think that they're waiting to see if she's actually going to be doing this for real. And I think that's it. So people could say that she got snubbed. I don't think it is. That's like somebody coming over from another genre into hip hop. And, that's like, yeah, Katy Perry. Not Katy Perry. What's the girl name? Taylor Swift. Or Katy Perry. And they came over and they made an R&B album. You know what I'm saying? It had all these rappers featured on it and all this other stuff. And people will be hollering all kinds of rigmaroles. Like, oh, this don't fit. This don't, y'all gonna get Taylor Swift an award? Oh, she just, and it's just not a good look. But if Taylor Swift was actually, showing that, nah, man, she's making nothing but R&B now. Actually, neo soul. And so she really about this life now. So start giving her awards because she's showing and improving. So I just think I think Beyonce just needs to show and prove. She needs to, to double down on this and say that, hey, this wasn't just some publicity stunt, guys. I'm really country like that. And just keep it that way. And it can be her own brand of country. Just keep doing country. And it's going to get acknowledged, I believe. But what are your thoughts, man, on Miss Beyonce not getting one? Even with this nomination, she's not even getting nominated. So what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I largely hear all of that. When this thing became known that this is something that Beyonce was working on, they asked her about this. And her words exactly were, quote, "This ain't a country album. This is a Beyonce album."
Okay.
So, by her own admission, it's not a country album. It's a Beyonce album. And I would imagine most of the people who are not happy about this aren't country music fans, they're Beyonce fans.
Correct.
I don't think country music fans are complaining about this. I think it's Beyonce fans who are
Agreed.
complaining about this. And to the Beyonce fans who are complaining about this, I would ask them, did you listen to any other country music before Beyonce started making country music? Or did you just hop on over there because Beyonce made this thing, whatever it is, because by her own admission, it's not even a country album. So how long have you been following along with paying attention to country music prior to this? Because in my opinion, if you have not, you do not have a leg to stand on. You do not have a place in this conversation. I think a lot of y'all need to shut the hell up and keep it moving. Okay. And here's the good thing that can come from this. Okay. Because yeah, when we talked about this, we touched on Beyonce, doing her country, because I think there was a radio station who
Yeah.
somebody called in to request the Cowboy Carter song, and the radio station said no,
Hmm.
because they thought that the person was calling in to request Beyonce music, not
Hmm.
realizing that it was in a roundabout way her country song. And then once they realized it, they were like, okay, my bad, we messed up. And then they, played the song. So nobody knew what was going on with this thing. And, my thing is, a lot of these people who are up in arms ain't been paying attention to country music. And to be more specific, a lot of these people who are up in arms have not been paying attention to black country music artists, because these are Beyonce fans, and Beyonce fans are hip hop and R&B people who are indoctrinated in urban and hip hop culture and feel as though country is an other form of content. It's an other form of entertainment. It is not something that black people do. So here's my advice to a lot of y'all who are so aggrieved because Beyonce didn't get the recognition that you think that she deserves. I would advise you to start paying attention to some of these black country music artists. Because if some of these black country music artists get the play and the respect that they deserve from the various members of their own community when it comes to the art that they create, perhaps these types of omissions will cease to take place. So a lot of y'all running around out there upset because Beyonce didn't get her shine for this amalgamation album that is masquerading as country conveniently, because a lot of y'all want to call it country now that she's been snubbed, even though by her own admission it's a Beyonce album and not a country album. I would advise you to listen to Tanner Adele, black country music artist. Listen to Kane Brown, black country music artist. Start streaming Shabuzi more, black country music artist. We just mentioned him. Brittany Spencer. Y'all got Spotify, y'all got Apple Music. Start streaming her music. And I'm not talking to country music fans. I'm talking to y'all Beyonce fans. Start streaming Willie Jones, black country music artist. Mickey Guyton, black country music artist. I've mentioned Darius Rucker before. He goes without saying. Blanco Brown, Danita, Breland, Raina Roberts. Another one is Jimmy Allen. These are all black country music artists who've been doing country music for years and years. Do y'all know about them? Probably not, because y'all been listening to rap and hip hop your whole life. So you probably ain't been listening to these people because you don't really listen to country. You don't really listen to country. You just like Beyonce. So part of the ecosystem that surrounds omissions like this taking place is the perception that Beyonce is fly by night. And they can hang their hat on their perception that this is fly by night because her fans don't even listen to country music. They just listen to her. So if you want these types of omissions to stop taking place, how about you do yourselves and your community a favor and start paying a little more attention to some of the people who look like you, who actually make the music within the genre and have been doing it for years. Then maybe Beyonce, who comes in every now and again to dip her toe in the sand, will get a little more credit, or at least the amount of credit that you think she should get.
Yeah, man. Agreed. And my look again, I don't know what her like. I don't know. Well, I think I know what her angle was. It was just to bring, Beyonce to country, and bring her badness and what's the other word, her flamboyancy and all of that stuff that comes with, the glam of Beyonce over the country. Because in the picture over there by you, that's a Versace hat. That's a Versace cowboy hat. Now, I don't know what country, you know like how they do things, but to me it's more blues, so it's more of a humble type of thing. Now they got flexing and stuff, they flex and country music, but it's not designer flex. They're flexing about the F-150. So she's gonna come in here with her Gucci, Prada, Lamborghini flow, bringing that the country. And I don't know how humble that is, and I don't know what she's doing here. To me, it's just, even if we want to take this back to, hey, this black people stuff, and it's like, okay, well, that's not what the forefathers of country intended. It was a form of blues, and you're in here making it pop. So, she really needs to pour from the heart with her music. Lemonade-esque with her blues. Maybe people would be listening to it. Maybe people will be like, hey man, she really dug down deep. Because I've heard country songs. I'm not gonna listen to that music. I'm not a fan of the waves. I got programmed a different way. So whenever I try to listen to country, I can appreciate it, but I'm not gonna sit here and have it on repeat. But the songs that I do hear that are good, in my opinion, they are touching chords of emotion and things of that nature. And it's not, Texas Hold'em square dance and stuff. So to me, at least the stuff that I heard from this cowboy trash was it was commercialized country, and it sounded like she was trying to make hits. And to me, that wasn't upholding the honor of what our forefathers did when we created the art craft. If people want to sit here and go, well, we did it, we black, so why can't she? Well, she's doing it different. So that's like literally like a blues singer, you know what I'm saying, getting up there and saying that, I got riches, I got more than you, and flexing and throwing money in the crowd. Like, what kind of blues artist is this? What kind of blues guy is this? Hey man, you're supposed to be talking about, internal strifes and pain, but you're around here flexing and dunking on me like this is a rap song. So no, I can't get what anything she's doing about this. To me, it's all hella tacky. I was making fun of it from the jump. So for me, I'm getting a victory lap of laughs for her not getting nominated here. People can holler racism or any type of else ism in between. To me, this was just a big swing and a miss. And of course she charted. She's got so many millions of fans. Of course they were going to listen and give it spins. All right. But it didn't stay long. And so y'all can throw that, oh, she charted. Of course. And so to fit with my my Katy Perry analogy or whatever, if she came over and did R&B stuff, she's going to bring her fans with her. So she's going to top charts of R&B every week. That has no bearing on what the community feels about her music. So the same thing goes with this Beyonce stuff. To me, it was all commercialized, hogwash garbage. Now, is country commercial? Yeah, it is. But this was a different brand of commercial. And I didn't care for it myself. So, yeah, man, I'm getting a good chuckle out of this. Sorry, Beehive. I don't mean to upset you guys. But, I believe there's reasonable ones out there that can just see that, this wasn't her best work. And yeah, I agree with you. And for that, I don't think she deserves an award. So,
Yeah, they're some of the most annoying people in the world.
Where you going?
Beyonce fans, they're just loud and annoying and irritating. They're like an ant that you can't kill.
Hey, man.
Um, Listen, you guys need to start giving country music and black country music artists the credence that you've never given them, because you will therefore create a more widespread platform to allow for individuals like Beyonce to be impossible to be omitted from
Mm,
some of these awards institutions. But you guys are no better than her. You're fly by night just like she is.
mm,
And like you said, let's, let's say the next 2 or 3 projects, or maybe for the rest of her career musically, she's touched in such a way that she decides to do it differently and she wants to become more of a centralized country music artist. Then that's all well and good. But as it stands right now, she was bringing, Lemonade and I Am Sasha Fierce into
yes,
the,
Pierce.
yeah, into she was bringing Lemonade and I Am Sasha Fierce into country music. And of
Yeah.
course, people are going to buy it because she has her legions of zombie fans. But I think it did a disservice, and maybe that's a strong word, but I think it did a bit of a disservice to the many country music artists, black in particular, who've been doing this and they don't get paid attention to by some of the same people who are hollering foul because Beyonce didn't get her credit. So I think y'all should just do a better job of paying attention to a lot of the black country music artists who have been in the genre for decades, years and years, making music. Pay attention to them as well as Beyonce because they deserve it as well. And I think it's an even bigger crime when those people get snubbed as opposed to Beyonce, who's
Correct.
already got more Grammys in the history of the Grammys than any other artist, and she gonna be good.
Exactly.
She gonna be good. You think I don't know if she cares or not that she got snubbed, but I would imagine she don't really. It's just a lot of y'all crybaby fans who care more than she even cares. So y'all need to get over it. Get on your Spotify, get on wherever you listen to your music. You pay for YouTube Premium or whatever you listen to, and start streaming a lot of these other black country music artists' music, because they deserve that, in my opinion, more than Beyonce does.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's what she did. She brought Sasha Fierce to the hoedown, and you can't do that, man. It's clashing. It's cultural clash. You know, and again, not cultural because white black. It's cultural because of what country's supposed to stand for, a form of blues, and blues and fierceness. They don't really mesh well. So
Right.
I just think she just needs to humble herself with this. I think she came in a little too full of herself and thought she was going to flip the world upside down with this. But in actuality, I think she stumbled a bit for the first time in her career, honestly. Because yeah, she's had an album out, but I'm not hearing it anywhere. So, and this is a first for her, I would say. So she needs to humble herself. And if she wants to do this, then keep going, but make real music and stop making this grifty pandering stuff. So, yeah, I go on
Well,
about
that's what. Well, people think that there's nothing wrong with that. They want a gender bend. Well, gender bend. That was a slip. They want a genre bend, and all of that. They don't really see. That's a good thing for music is people like Beyonce coming in and adding their own little spin to it. But I just think the community is spoken. It is what it is, man.
Sorry.
My attention goes to the many other country music artists who are not paid attention to by, I would say, the majority of black music listeners, because the majority of black music listeners are listening to garbage rap and hip hop. And I think they should get the attention of your ear or your sub or your stream. And that's my biggest takeaway from this whole thing.
Yep. Agreed.
Now we have part 2 of our conversation involving Ray Gun.
Yeah.
We talked about Ray Gun a while back, who flamed out at the Olympics. The Paris Olympics had breakdancing, and
Fantastic.
Ray Gun was the subject of many memes because of her performance as a breakdancer at the Olympics. But now she's come back with a vengeance because she's been ranked number one ranked breakdancer in the world.
Damn.
And and so in spite of the fact that her performance at the Olympics was, dreadful, she nevertheless has been ranked the number one breakdancer in the world. So this is an article from SB Nation. It says Raygun goes from Olympics meme to number one ranked breakdancer in the world. Australian B-girl Rachel Gunn, better known as Ray Gunn, went viral during the 2024 Paris Olympics for her unique dance moves while simultaneously mystifying the entire world as to how she made it all the way to the games. Now there's a new twist to her story. On Thursday, the governing body of international breakdancing, the World Dance Sport Federation, made the stunning announcement that Ray Gunn was the number one ranked women's breaker in the world. This rank was earned despite the fact that none of the women who medaled in breaking during the Paris Games made the top 10 of the rankings. The curious ranking comes as part of the WDSF system. It works off a point system spanning the last 12 months, in which the four best results make up the score. So, with Raygun winning the 2023 Oceania Championship, she earned a massive 1,000 points towards her world rank. It gets even more bizarre, though. Not only did this one result massively tilt the world rankings, but WDSF said that neither Olympic qualifying events nor the actual Paris Games counted toward the world rankings, saying it was organized this way to ensure there was no distraction for breakers. In alignment with the Olympic qualification system, ranking events were intentionally not held between December 31st, 2023 and the Olympic Games Paris 2024. This strategic scheduling allowed athletes to focus solely on the last part of their Olympic qualification without the added pressure of additional ranking events. On paper, this might sound fine, but when you think a little harder, it's exceptionally weird. Essentially, WDSF is saying that athletes could have been so preoccupied with international breakdancing rankings that it might throw off their preparation for the Olympic Games. There is quite literally no reason not to include Olympic results towards the standings. None of this is Raygun's fault. Recently, she's come under fire in the wake of the last place Olympic finish. The Australian dancer was the subject of claims she was unfairly selected to represent Australia, while others were happy to just make her a meme. However, the head breakdancing judge at the Paris Games remains resolute in defending Raygun. It's all about originality, and it's all about bringing something new to the table and representing your country or region. While the ranking is stunning, Raygun earned it fair and square under the very bizarre rules behind the world rank. All hail our dance queen. So this has got to have some people who are on the anti-Raygun train eating a little bit of crow. That despite what happened at the Olympics, she's the number one breakdancer in the world. That's hilarious. But what do you make of Raygun being ranked number one in the world? Number one in the world, the whole of the world. This chick who was doing crab dances at the Olympics is number one ranked in the world as a breaker. What do you make of that?
Well, this is what I think. I think the WDSF. I think they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they're using our girl here as the bait. I think. Listen, man. If you really want to tick some people off, if you really want to get in circulation, because this is everywhere, bro. New York Post, all right, USA Today. I mean, this is I don't know if it's on ESPN yet, but this thing is sweeping across headlines, and the people at the WD SF, they're loving it in their PR room now. They said, "Hey, wait a second. How can we make Raygun ranked number one?" And so So they use this Oceania, okay, athletics thing. And I said, what is that? So I had to Google that. So I go to the page, bruh. I mean, I'm just seeing the people that's competing in this. So it looks like a local Australian thing. And I'm seeing the people that's competing in this thing just in regular sports. And it just looks like, not it. So it's not like she was beating top tier competition. Let's be honest. How does she win if she was doing dealing with top tier competition? So she won this participation award at this place, and they're justifying that for being, giving her 1,000 points. You know what I'm saying? Which is completely bogus. And that's why they said that, all hail our dance queen or whatever, because, it's a joke. They're not serious about this. So, but this will, because I saw it. And when we covered it the first time, I was like, I don't know how the real B-boys and B-girls feels about this, but because I was getting a good laugh out of it. But I saw the videos out there of real people that are real breakers that are in the community, and they didn't like it. They felt like she really gave them a bad name, as a community. And I guess they felt like it was some, Milli Vanilli action going on, sullying the name of what they really do for a living. So, the real people in the community, they didn't like it for the most part, at least from what I gathered. And this is just going to drive them even further up the wall. But much like in the Kendrick Lamar situation, how do you not use this woman to make yourself more money? So if you're in the breakdancing industry and you're selling this thing called WDSF, and nobody even heard of you before, make Ray Gun rank number 1 in the world. Everybody's going to come flooding to your website, flooding to whatever y'all got going on. Even the real B-boys and B-girls that never even heard of these people are going to be flooding in. How do I get ranked better than these people? They probably made a name for themselves with this little brouhaha. How long will their little 5 minutes of fame last? As long as they try to make it stretch out. But I think this is all publicity for whoever these people are, because there's no way on God's green that this young lady here should be ranked number 1 in anything. So to me, this is all hilarious and publicity. But what are your thoughts on Miss Ray Gun ranking number 1 in the world when it comes to that breakdance?
It better be for publicity, because if they're for real, this is a joke. This is an absolute joke.
They're a joke.
Where is this here? Let me read this one more time. In alignment with the Olympic qualification system, ranking events were intentionally not held between December 31st, 2023 and the Olympic Games Paris 2024. This strategic scheduling, let me say, I repeat, this strategic scheduling allowed athletes to focus solely on the last part of their Olympic qualification without the added pressure of additional ranking events. So, in other words, we want to coddle these people so much that we are going to eliminate pressurized points of time from the period in which they would be ranked, so that they can just have the peace of mind to focus on the Olympics and not focus on their rankings. That to me is bogus. What high level performer can't take on the pressure of Olympic competition in order to be able to perform adequately during that time and have that factor into their world ranking? Like, to me, if you can't handle performing during a time when the evaluation of that performance is going to factor into your world ranking, you shouldn't be a high level performer in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to handle that. Now, obviously, Ray Gun herself didn't call into these people and be like, hey, let's make it to where the period of the Olympics and the qualifying rounds don't count towards the ranking. But she's nevertheless a beneficiary of it. And I holler bogus, because in the spirit of competition alone, a high-level performer should be able to perform despite the fact that during this period of time, said performance is going to factor into their world ranking.
Correct.
But this to me is a complete and utter joke, because it is no different than the rest of the world lowering its standards for everything nowadays. Across the board, standards are low. Let's coddle these people and make it to where they can focus just on their Olympic performance without having it factor into their world ranking. Why? Why do we feel the need to continue to coddle humans nowadays? This is ridiculous. Like expectations for job performance have dropped precipitously over the course of the last couple of generations to the point where I come into a situation having low expectations for people's performance.
Yeah.
I expect for people to not get back to me. I expect for people to not follow up. I expect for people to not be professional. I expect for me to have to follow up 2 or 3 times on an email before I get a response.
Lord
I
have
have an
mercy.
expectation that someone is not going to text me back for 3 or 4 days. And now I got to follow you up on something you're supposed to be doing. What is this thing that we got going on with humans where we just have such low expectations for performance? And then we further back that up by acquiescing to it. People are so lazy and unprofessional and trash at their jobs nowadays. It's sickening.
Yeah.
And the thing with Ray Gun is I'm not blaming her. She's merely a beneficiary of this ridiculous, bogus lowering of expectations for performance. There's no way on God's green earth that if this was being that if this were to be taken seriously, she should be ranked #1 in the world as a breaker.
Not
You
even
know what I'm
close.
saying? It
Not even
doesn't
close.
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But if you eliminate the Olympics, suddenly it becomes more sensible because you decided to remove that to make it easier for her to focus on just her performance. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very much in line to me with new human behavior of let's just lower expectations for performance. We don't need people to be professional. We don't need people to be able to take on the pressure. We don't need people to be able to do their job and perform it to the best of their ability in highly pressurized scenarios. Let's just eliminate this and coddle and placate people as best we can, just creating a world society of softness. That's what this is to me. That's what this is to me. And to your point, let's make money in the process by using her as the poster child for world breakdancing notoriety.
Yep.
This is an atrocity as far as I'm concerned. This is a joke. This is more of an atrocity to me than Beyonce being snubbed for a country music award. Like people want to complain about Beyonce getting overlooked. This is more of an atrocity for that because for better or for worse, one can argue that Beyonce put her best foot forward with whatever that is she's calling that music. Whereas this performance was laughable to say the least. And the fact that it is being coddled in this way, just pandered towards by creating these lackadaisical, laissez-faire, loose standards for performance is a sad state of affairs when you juxtapose it to how we have basically just rendered high expectations for performance for people in general utterly useless.
Yeah, man. Well said, bro. And I don't. The more I think about this woman, the more of her whole performance, man. Like, were there not tryouts? You know what I'm saying? At least for the Olympics itself. So
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about this. That's so weird. There were Olympic trials for this.
and my thing is that's what I'm saying. Like, I call collusion on the Olympics itself then, because they had to have something to do with this, in the sense that, hey, look, we're not putting this person on the stage. There's no way, because she was doing that whatever the hell in the trials as well.
Yeah,
So either I just really knew that. I mean, if I was sitting there like Simon Cowell or whatever that guy name was on American Idol, and I'm sitting here judging these dancers, and I saw her do whatever the hell she does. After laughing my ass off, I would have turned around with the boys and said, "Hey, this, if we actually get her out there, this will actually be publicity for our new event. So, in some way, whether intentional or not, this woman is being used for whatever reason. I think initially by the Olympics, because there's no way. I mean, objectively watching that, there's no way that that person should have made it. She shouldn't have made it, but she did, and she competed. And now they want to sit there and come up with this weird formula to why she's ranked number one. Oh, yeah, we're not going to consider the Olympics where she got rated 0 points because that would actually, not make her number one. So, fluffing numbers just to make her number one, this is collusion, man. These people out here just trying to make money. And they're using our girl here, Ray Gun, as as a proxy for them to get their cash, man. So hey man, it's whatever, but there's no way I'm buying any of this legit. I'm not buying this WD-40 place. And I'm not buying the Olympics. I'm not buying NBC. I'm not buying anybody for rolling this lady out there and embarrassing the world. She didn't just embarrass Australia. She just didn't embarrass Breakers. She embarrassed the world with that performance. So I still got the over on her participating in Super Bowl commercials. I'm leaning more towards car insurance. And whenever I see her in there, I am gonna get a good laugh. But to me, I think this lady is all publicity, man, in the sense that they're using her for it. So good job, WD-40, man. That was a slick play, man. Slick play.
Yeah, shouts out to Dallas Lewis on the track, in the chat. He said this is bait. Which
Bait.
world she in? Yeah, I feel it, man.
It's rage bait.
Yeah, it is, and it just the way that we've just lowered standards across the board for everything to me is just it's a joke, man, and we wonder why we're in the state that we're in. People want to get paid the most to do the least, and people want to pay out the least but get the most, and no one wants to actually do their job anymore. This is silly. Like such low expectations that you have to create a rating system that is based on eliminating a period where one's performance should be the most impactful.
Agreed.
That to me doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's a good one, man. You got me. I wonder if there are prop bets on that. On Ray Gun commercial appearances.
Hey man, there's all kind of things out there. There's all kind of things.
I gotta check that out. If there are prop bets on Ray Gun Super Bowls, I'm gonna look into that because man, yeah, I could definitely see her in a Progressive or a State Farm for sure.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. What that boy name? Damn,
Jake from State Farm. Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm, man. I mean, that's a power combo. Make it happen, y'all. I'm waiting.
Oh God, do your job, people. The ongoing saga involving Tyrese continues. He was recently arrested in Atlanta. I believe this is not the first time for refusing to pay child support, and don't know much else to say about Tyrese at this point. He's clearly doing these things intentionally. He's trying to right wrongs that have been done unto him, I would suppose. But at some point, one has to ask whether he is continuing to dig an even deeper hole for himself. This says Tyrese arrested after refusing to illegally pay $10,000 in child support. In an update from the Neighborhood Talk, singer and actor Tyrese has officially been arrested. This very recent news comes just hours after the Los Angeles, California native revealed in a now deleted Instagram post that this was a real possibility. It stems from the still ongoing divorce with ex-wife Samantha Lee, but more specifically the financial/child support side of things. Since August of 2022, Miss Lee has been trying to get $10,000 a month from him to help aid their 5-year-old child they have together. Initially, it was around $20,000. Still, though, Tyrese has been fighting against it for a while now and continued to do so today at his court hearing in Atlanta at 9 a.m. In his long, confusing, and aforementioned post to social media, he even labeled it illegal. In addition to this, he claimed that Samantha's two lawyers on the case are close friends with the judge. Overall, he feels this whole situation is essentially unjust. So there is Tyrese's long Instagram post here. I am not reading all that. You can check that out for yourself. However, Judge Kevin M. Farmer, who Tyrese tried to have removed from the bench twice, thinks otherwise. The neighborhood talk says that it's been revealed to us that he was taken in willful contempt of court after refusing to release the funds. Not much else is known at this time, as this news is pretty much just broke. So be sure to stick with us for more developments around this. So the ongoing story surrounding Tyrese and the fallout from his divorce and what he is trying to have not happen to him continues. Of course, this is also in the wake of his more recent public appearances with his new movie. He's on the Breakfast Club. He's crying on the Breakfast Club, talking about real men cry. And he's on the red carpet, crying, talking about how real men cry. And women aren't the only ones who suffer when bad things happen with the family or with the kids. So, this, Tyrese, this has been his spiel now in recent memory, spares no expense to kind of let his emotions out. He wears them on his sleeve. But what do you think is going on here with this situation? He's dug in the sand here. He refuses to be smoked out of his hole on paying his child support. And it looks like he's going to go to the death with this whole thing. Before he eventually, I don't know what the end result is going to be, but he is clearly going to fight it to the end.
I mean, I think he should keep fighting, but you got to pay while you're fighting, dude. This is rough, but he's really in a position of you got to just charge this to the game, man. And yeah, it sucks, and you looks like you're getting railroaded, at least from your perspective. Well, just keep fighting that, man. And but pay while you're fighting, because clearly, bro, like you're gonna have to pay it anyway. So why lose your freedom over it? To me, this is this is just him, in my opinion, trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to start a revolution or you know what I'm saying, by not paying and standing his ground. But the court is not going to see it this way. They're not going to care about your alleged collusion of the judges and stuff. They're going to say, hey, you owe this, you pay this. If not, you're done. And I don't know what the man pockets look like, but you just did mention that he's got something coming out, something that he worked on. I'm pretty sure he got a decent check out of that. He's doing his press runs. So, he's got money in the bank, hopefully. But while you're doing that, man, you got to take these L's. And, one of the big L's out there is the child support thing. And you got to pay the cost to be the boss in life. And this is one of those things, man, where, child support is no joke. And either that or they hit you with the back pay. Either way, you're gonna have to come up off this. So hopefully he got his money right enough to pay this. I would assume he's got the money. So just pay him, dude. And keep fighting it in court. Hopefully those fast and furious checks are decent. Because I know the music industry don't pay you nothing. So hopefully he's been doing something with this notoriety he's been doing for the last 2 years, just running around talking. Hopefully he's getting paid for stuff. But nah, man, just charge us to the game, dog. Like I don't know why he's trying to be so hard-headed about this, but divorces and things like that can get nasty. And at least from what I hear from him speaking, it's just a nasty situation with that woman. And I guess he's just trying to prove his point. But, proving your point when the law is involved, they're going to prove a point to you. So, yeah, best of luck to Tyrese here. But, he damn sure knows how to stay in the headlines for somebody that has nothing going on. So, I guess he got a movie, but, you don't want to be in the headlines for all these things that he's been in the headlines for. But what are your thoughts, man, on Mr. Gibson here getting locked up for allegedly not paying his child supports?
Well, he had said in a post that he was going to be arrested soon
Hmm.
for this very thing, and that ended up happening. So
Hmm.
he knew it was about to go down because you know how they do with that child support. They take you to jail when you fail to pay. Um, yeah, I think if he can afford it, he should continue to fight it. But you also don't want to be in a Young Buck situation. Remember when we talked about Young Buck and he owed God knows how much money to the
Hmm.
IRS, most of it
Hmm.
being due to child support pay.
Hmm.
You also don't want that. So he has to find a healthy middle ground
Hmm.
between fighting it but not digging himself too deep into a financial pit. And there's conflicting reports on his net worth. The range seems to be between 5 and 30 million. That's a very large range.
That's
So
large.
I'm not exactly sure what his net worth is, but I think it's fair to say he out earns her. Um, I did a search on what her net worth is, and it says that she makes about 150K a month as an influencer, and whatever the hell that means, or whatever she does.
Boy, what is
Right?
that?
Yeah, but it says earns about 150,000 a month as a social media influencer and life coach. Of course, that's according to Tyrese himself. So the accuracy of that is subject to question because this is Tyrese who's saying it. That's not like officially documented.
Hmm.
Be that as it may, the reason why I'm bringing up how much each of them respectively makes, and really the only thing that I can take away from this, I haven't really been involved. Obviously, I don't have children. I have never personally been involved in child support, proceedings, divorce proceedings and how they divide those assets up and how they go about handling what they do there. But I've always been of the understanding, and I could be wrong about this, courts automatically by default uh, defer to the mother when it comes to custody of the children. But if the gap in income between the man and the woman is so big, and the man himself expresses a deep desire to gain full custody, there's a chance that he can be granted full custody of the children, given the fact that he is financially able to provide for them significantly more than the woman can. But of course, it has to be a situation where he is indeed wanting full custody. Like if he is indifferent towards the idea of full custody, or if he's okay with terms of split custody or sole custody going to the mother, then he has no leg to stand on. But if he wants to get full custody, if the conditions are in his favor enough, there is a possibility for it to take place. Not saying it's going to happen, but there is a possibility nonetheless.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think more of these guys in Tyrese's position, Tyrese included, need to just fight for full custody of the kids to eliminate the prospect of having to pay unreasonable amounts of child support. I mean, I don't know what their expenses are. I don't know what their life is like, but just at face value, $10,000 per month seems to be a lot. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Maybe they go to the fanciest private school in the world. Like, I don't know. I don't know what these expenses are, but it seems a bit much to say I need $10,000 every single month just to care for this child. Like, there's people who don't even make $10,000 in 6 months in a year, and you need that in 1 month to care for one kid. That to me, on the surface, seems unreasonable, despite whatever money he may be making. I don't really care in a vacuum how much money he makes. That seems like a lot to me. But you know how this thing goes. It's more than just caring for the kid. It's about maintaining livelihood, which is a joke. But I think more of these guys need to just fight for sole custody. Like
Yeah.
be the sole caretaker for the kids. No split custody, and certainly no sole custody to the mother. If you are the breadwinner, if you make the majority of the income, if the livelihood that was being afforded to the kids while the family was together largely came from the income of the father, then I think if things dissolve, the father should try to be the sole caretaker for the kids, in my opinion. That will sort of remove you from the possibility of having to deal with trying to get terms of child support minimized to levels that you think are more reasonable. Now that doesn't, not every guy wants, frankly, not every guy wants full custody. Like, not every man wants to be the sole caretaker of the kids. And a lot of these guys are content with the mother having sole custody. They don't want the kids around, unfortunately. There's a lot of these guys out here who don't want full custody, who don't even want to do split custody. They're okay with giving the mother full custody, and they'll just settle for visitation. But for a lot of the guys out there who aren't okay with that, I think y'all should go ahead and fight for that full custody. Fight for the full custody. What's the worst that can happen? You get denied and you get split custody anyway. But I think it's worth the fight to try to get full custody. So then at that point, that the money being spent on the kid is going directly towards the kid because it's your money. And you also know that you're not going to have to be back and forth in and out of court trying to, get the terms of your child support to be a little more reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's how it works too. At least I've seen that happen in other people's situation where, the guy does it. But I've also seen the guy have full custody, when he ain't got it either. So I don't know how that really works, but I still believe that is an angle that some of these guys can take, in Tyrese's position. If you are spending all that money in defense, then
Right.
Spend that money in defense to just keep the kid.
Yeah. I think not to cut you off, but I think in those situations where the man is awarded full custody, but he ain't got it like that, I think he was able, with his legal representation, of course, to prove that the mother is like mentally not in her right state of mind.
Yeah, incapable.
Which is it's damn near impossible to do. But I think in those instances, they've been able to prove that the mother is like mentally messed up. And so even though they don't got it like that, they can still get full custody.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that. And I think the only thing that Tyrese has been doing is proving that, he's not stable enough to be anybody's main guardian. So, I mean, I hear all this stuff that men cry, because we do, what I'm saying? Life goes on. I hear all this stuff that he talks about, man. He makes valid points about things. And I'm pretty sure his reading of this woman post-divorce is very accurate. That, hey, man, she just used me, man. Got the baby and dipped. And now charging me. Yeah, bro, that happened. But that's what these guys got to be on the lookout for. You know what I'm saying? And you got to pay the taxes. And you're going to get taxed. And for these guys, man, it'd be so hard. It'd be so hard to feel sorry for them when they have so many positions. I mean, this guy's, he's everywhere now. We mentioned he's out here press runs. He's out here Charlemagne. He out here Gilly the Kid. He out here Shay. Look all these elbows you rubbing. Find your way to get you something that's like a turnkey operation where it basically pays that $10,000 for you. It's hard to feel sorry. Enough rich people. You don't have to wait for another role. Go in there and make some damn money. There's people out there smart enough to find ideas for you. All that money you're spending on legal representation, you can find some jackass to build something for you that's going to generate $10,000 a month for you off the name of being Tyrese Gibson. So what's going on here? So for these guys out here, and I say just charge it to the game, you're in a position that other people aren't. So utilize that as leverage to pay for these things that, yeah, you getting taxed for that. Oh, wait, you don't know how that go. Yeah, because now that I made this turnkey operation that's generating this much, now my child support's gonna go. Hey, man, keep going. Charge it to the game. Get some offshore accounts. You know how them people do it. You touch elbows with them too.
Yeah, you're right, bro. Like I'm with you. You're right. And it's so logical to me that it leads me to believe that he knows this, but he's just fighting it on principle. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. Like, he's got to be fighting it on principle because even though he could figure that out, he simply doesn't want to because he don't want to give her no money, and he probably also is like, I don't care what the amount is or how much. Well, he's probably thinking to himself, I don't care what I bring in or what I'm doing. I shouldn't have to give you that much per
Yeah,
month,
it's personal to
$10,000.
him.
Yeah,
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 it's
exactly. It's personal. Yeah, there you
you don't
go.
want to give her the money,
Yeah,
but because how she doing it, and he think it's collusion, and they getting paid too.
yeah,
The lawyer and the judge. You know what I'm saying? So he's taking it there, and it's just like, bro, I'm sorry, I really am. But fix this financially for yourself. If it's finances, if it's just off principle alone, bro, put your ego to the side and just pay these people off and keep fighting it. So yeah, man, this is my thing for these people, man. So it's hard for me to feel sorry for them. It sucks, it really does. But I still think that these people are in positions to get these things wiped away, or at least be as minimal effect as possible, and just basically have some auto bill pay system to where it's just like, whatever, man, just pay the MFer and just leave
yeah,
me alone.
yeah,
And all of my money that come in from this or that goes to that. And I know my baby taken care of. I know this whatever woman is off my back, and the system's off my back. So whatever. So just do what you got to do, man. But if you're just if you're going to jail off principle, bro, there's deeper things to go to prison over than not paying your child support, bro. So yeah, don't let this personal situation bite you the wrong way. But this is Tyrese, man. He's just gonna come out of this rejuvenated, renewed, with a deeper message than ever. And I'll be here for it because he truly is entertaining me right now as a person. He really
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. His heart will be full. That's what he's been saying a lot. His heart is full. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's acting at this point off principle.
Yeah.
I do, and I get it. As a principled person myself, I respect people who live on principle. I truly do, but there also has to be a pragmatic approach to it, and you just don't want to sink into a deep hole off of your principle. That doesn't help anyone. So hopefully he gets that part figured out. But the main takeaway from me with this is like, and I don't know if this happens more often than not. Again, I'm relatively ignorant when it comes to like these types of proceedings, but more guys could probably stand to try to get full custody of kids when these things, when there's a dissolving of a particular relationship, whether it's a divorce, marriage, whatever the case is. Like, I think guys would help themselves more, the ones who want to be a full parent, because you do got some guys who don't want to be full parents. But for the ones who aren't averse to the idea, just fight for full custody. Some of y'all will get it, and then you won't have to deal with child support because you're just taking care of the kid as it is. So
yeah, man, and just and be there,
yeah,
and collect evidence that you were there as you go.
yeah,
And yeah, as you go, collect everything, and then when she goes, I'm taking everything, at least you got a case on you taking care of everything. You know what I'm saying? So just keep yourself a paper trail. This is for those guys out there that could get got. I would think that keeping a paper trail of you doing everything would actually serve you well when she tries to pull the rug and say, hey, you can get all the alimony you want, I guess, but you ain't gonna hit me for 13, 15,000 a month for child support, and here's the reasons why. So hopefully that'll work too. So, but yeah, man, I think when guys have money, man, you have to have money put away for garbage like this. Just getting sued or whatever. Like, all that money coming in, it will get taxed somehow. Put some stuff away so it doesn't. It sucks, but it ain't gonna hurt you. We'll see.
Good luck, Mr. Gibson.
Good luck, Tyrese. Can't wait to hear him his first day out. We'll hear what he got to say.
And last but not least, we are going to talk about Shannon Sharp chastising Chad Ochocinco for being late to a recent episode of Nightcap. So This started with a viral clip of Shannon Sharp becoming frustrated because there were technical issues with one of their episodes of Nightcap, and Chad was running late. And then it progressed further with the two of them talking about the situation, and then Shannon Sharp clarifying his comments toward Ocho Cinco by himself. So this says Shannon Sharp addresses his recent viral outburst and heated exchange with Ocho Cinco. Shannon Sharp was hosting his popular show Nightcap the other night when he was experiencing some audio issues. This subsequently led to an outburst that made it seem like he was mad at his production crew. Moreover, he reamed out Chad Ochocinco, who showed up late to the broadcast. This led to quite a bit of discourse on social media. However, Sharp decided to not give into any of it. On Sunday night, Sharp explained what happened and noted that it had nothing to do with his team. So we're just going to play some of these clips here. So let me start with this one because I might have to open up a different tab.
Come on, play for us. Paul.
Let's see if it'll cooperate.
Come on, cooperation.
Or I may have to refresh the screen. Usually it happens with these Twitter. Wait.
Yeah.
It'll work.
My ear. It's playing back in my ear. Guys, do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe to the Nightcap podcast feed wherever you get your podcast from. And remember, every podcast subscriber, playing back in my ear, guys. It's playing back in my ear.
Damn.
I can't read why that's playing in my ear. I'm sorry, guys.
Damn. What's up with Shay Shay, man?
You can tell when he's.
It's not now because I'm not talking, but it was. It's good. I don't hear anything. Let me start reading again. Guys, we're sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know if it's me or if it's on the other end, but I promise you that won't happen again. Guys, please make sure you do us a favor. Go check out Shea by LaPortier. If Shea is not in the state or a city near you, you can order it and it
Uh-oh.
Guys, damn it! What is Ash?
He even get mad sassy. He slapped that microphone. Boy.
Thank you for doing it again.
Come on, man.
We right on time. You can hear me?
Hell no.
Yes, I hear you. Go ahead.
All right, so that was Unc getting frustrated over the technical difficulties, but Chad was also late, which frustrated him as well. So here's the exchange between Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco over Chad showing up late to the episode.
Alex. He was really cool dude. And as soon as he opened the car door and he got out the car door to greet me, the car door locked by accident. So I would have been on time, but the fact that we had to wait for the tow truck and them to bring the Slim Jim was the reason for my delay and getting to the hotel a little late. But I'm here now.
Let me ask you a question. So when you go to ESPN, you have people pick you up from the airport?
Yeah.
No, you don't. When you do inside the NFL, you have people pick you up from the airport?
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
No, you don't. So I'm just trying to figure out why with your show would you choose to take that route when you don't take that route for ESPN and inside the NFL?
I wasn't lying. I'm dead serious. When I fly into Philly, I have somebody pick me up from Philly. When I fly into New York, I have somebody pick me up from New York. I'm serious.
That ain't what they told me. I just talked.
Hold on, listen to me now. It's documented. It's documented.
I'm just telling you.
But all
I'm
you have
just
to
telling
do
what
is
they
just
were
search
told
my
to me.
tweets. I've been doing it the past 15 years. I always do this.
I'm not saying that.
Yes, sir. Talk
but
to me now.
Ocho,
Right.
again, Ocho, this is
Right.
part of your
Right.
show.
Right.
Why would you be late? Why would you run the risk of being
Well,
late?
I didn't want to be late. I just told you what happened. I would have been on time. But due to unfortunate circumstances of him locking the keys in his car, which I documented, I was just a little late.
Why don't you, Ocho? Why don't you just have the people that you're working for just have them to book
like
your
car
car
service.
service?
I don't like car service.
It's okay.
I don't like how them people they be mean and they be bougie. I don't like, they be in suits and ties and shit. That don't make me comfortable. That don't make me comfortable. What makes me comfortable is like being able to sit down and talk. Wait,
you want to be comfortable or you want to be professional?
No, I don't want to be. No, I want to be comfortable. I want to talk to people that I can relate to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just there. But see, here's the thing, Ocho. You say you want to be professional. You want to do ESPN. You want to do all these professional things, but you want to take a bootleg ride.
No. I want to remain my authentic self the same way I always been and do those things. Is that okay?
Okay.
No.
Okay. Let me know how that work out for you. Colorado lost to Nebraska 28.
Damn, Shannon. Damn, boy.
And finally, here is Shannon clearing things up.
Oh
Before
yeah.
we get started,
Now, we're not going to play this whole thing.
Right.
But we'll play it just enough to get the idea.
Ocho, there's some things that I want to address. Last night we had a situation. Everything is like in my computer. It's a little different for me here in the studio, my studio, compared to you at home. Everything is linked. The camera, the iPad, the computer, everything is linked. And what had happened is that as I'm talking, somehow it clicked over to the video. So that's what I was hearing playing back in my ear. So it wasn't anything. It wasn't like a malfunction. Somehow the audio had clicked on the video that was playing. So I could hear that back in my ear. So that was nothing that people back at in the studio was doing. That was no fault of their own. That was just something that had just all of a sudden happened. And it just took us a minute to figure out. We troubleshoot after we got off the show and we got it figured out. That won't happen again. I can assure you of that. Other technical difficulties might arise, but that won't happen. And then, guys, look, there's been a lot said. Well, you trying to do the Ocho, what Skip did to you, blah, blah, blah. No. What I am going to do is that I'm going to push, I'm going to pull, I'm going to drag Ocho to a level that he didn't think he could get to. See, I saw some of the comments. You too serious. It's just a little internet show. It's a YouTube show. For you, that's all you see it as. But that's not the vision that I shared with Ocho when we sat down. That's not the vision that Ocho say, we can do that? Yes. I say, you see what the other guys are getting. But I can't go when I sit down with these studios and they say, okay, Shannon, what can you do? What do you want to do? How are you gonna package this? What are you looking for? Because when you go to a studio, they want a time slot. They want okay, what time slot you want to be in? And can we account on you being in that slot? Yes. Yes, absolutely. And so I want Ocho to take it serious. I've conveyed this with Ocho. Ocho, I'm not breaking earth, interrupting your normally scheduled programming, because I just want Ocho to understand this is Ocho's show. This is my show. And I want him to take it as serious instead of like when he goes on First Take, be great on First Take. Inside the NFL, be great on those. But I want Ocho to understand we gonna only go as far as he and I can take this thing. And the heights that I dream, and I think what he's conveyed to me, is that we're going to have to do this together. But there has to be a level of professionalism. There has to be a courtesy of being on time. I respect his time, and I want him to respect, because there's a lot of people. We started out, it was just Ocho, myself, one person in the studio, and Ash. We got 11 people now. We got editors, we got graphics, we got extra producers, we got associate producers. And so,
all right, that's the general idea. So, so people were kind of going at Shannon because they felt like he was coming down on Chad a little too hard. They felt as though it was ironic given the fallout between he and Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless threw him under the bus on Undisputed, which eventually led to Shannon leaving the show. And they felt like kind of in a similar vein, Unc was throwing Chad under the bus in that moment in time. But from Shannon Sharp's perspective, it's all about professionalism and being on time and just an adherence to just a professional code of conduct. So this was an rather ongoing conversation the last couple of days involving Mr. Sharp and the Nightcap Show and Chad and all of that. But what do you make of that exchange there? You think Shannon Sharp has a point, or you think it was a bit too much?
I mean, I feel like he took it too far. If you want to sit there and talk about professionalism, I think the most professional thing is, if you're running a show that borderlines on comedy, is to play that off in a humorous way and then try to build him up off air. But trying to sun him on air saying, no, you don't. Blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. That was real nasty. Real auntie-like Unc. And I don't really care for that sassy ass behavior. So yeah, I felt like he was out of pocket on that. Now, granted, when people get mad, they get mad, man. People get frustrated. I'm pretty sure this wasn't the first conversation that he's had with Ocho. And the technical difficulties that he was having earlier didn't help. So I think it all came to a boil on air, and he lost his temper. And but when you're being professional on live air, keeping your temper in check is part of being professional on air. So the irony about him trying to chastise Ocho Cinco for not being professional is that he wasn't being professional himself. Everybody knows Ocho in this pairing as the lovable goof. If Ocho was late because of anything, honestly, it would have been, and he's like, hey, I'm here now, then that's part of, hey, come on, look at Chad again. Just stumbling in late, man. Or ha ha ha, it's part of his shtick. So play it off as such. But you trying to sun him on air, you trying to say that networks are watching, they trying to know what we about, and you not being professional, all of that stuff, just, more than throwing him under the bus. That's driving over him and bringing it back, and going in reverse. So I didn't care for it. Very sassy behavior from Unc, and I didn't like it. Even his apology, I didn't like it. Just for him just getting to the point where I'm just trying to build him up. Like, again, he's some son of yours. This is a grown ass man over here. Yeah, he eats McDonald's every day. Who gives a shit? He's still a grown ass man. So you can't talk to him like that. So yeah, I don't agree with Shay Shay on that. He can try to explain himself away on that. He was being nasty to his producers or the people in the back, the sound people, and come to find out it was his fault. He didn't own up on that. He just said that, that'll never happen again, So to me, this came off real diva-esque. Now I see why he walks around the airport with a poodle. This just comes off as typical Shay Shay behavior to me. But what are your thoughts on Unc Shay Shay grilling Chad Ochocinco's? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess, did it have to happen on air? Not necessarily. It didn't have to happen on air. They could have, had a meeting of the minds once they had finished the episode. So I hear that. But I agree with the spirit of his message, though. I don't have a problem with him desiring for his platform to maintain a certain standard for professionalism. I do think that that's important. And this relates to the topic that we discussed with Ray Gunn, where I talked about standards across the board being low in general. I think that standards for professionalism have dropped significantly in recent memory. I don't know why. I don't know the cause of it. I don't know the root of it, but I've experienced it and I see it and I deal with it on a daily basis when I'm handling my own business. I don't know whether I'm in need, whether I need to get in my car and go somewhere to a physical location to handle some business, pick up the phone and call and speak to a customer service representative. I need to change this policy or I need to put this money into this account. it just seems like on a very regular basis, I am running into a lack of professionalism when it comes to just everyday tasks and just, things that I encounter in everyday life. Grocery stores. I go into the grocery store and, people, they don't greet you. They don't want to help you. They're going out of their way to not assist you in stores. They kind of want to put blinders on and not try to see to it that they get you the help you need. It's just all kinds of stuff that I'm seeing nowadays. It's like I said, I don't know what happened, but people want to people want to be as people want to be as professional as least possible, but still be paid as much as possible. I'm noticing that. It's like people want to people want to be able to put out as little as possible, but get in return everything that they want. And I'm not leaving the entities off the hook. It's the same with companies. They want to be able to get the maximum amount of effort and output out of people, but pay them as little as possible. So these types of things are going on across the board. But professionalism right now is completely in the pits. I mean, I'm trying to do a deal with this person, and I'm telling them, okay, let me know what the deal is. And 4 days later, I ain't heard from them. So now I need to reach out to you again just to get a response from you on what the situation is. People don't respond to emails within a business day or two. I got to reach out to you. People tell me, okay, I'm going to see to it that this service gets done. I'm going to get the maintenance tech into your home on Thursday. 10 days later, I still ain't heard from the maintenance tech, and I ain't heard from you. So now I got to get on the phone to call you to see what's going on with something that you told me you were going to do because it never happened. So like across the board, professionalism right now is complete and utter shit. And so it's frustrating to me, both as an individual who has to deal with humans on a daily basis, as well as a consumer, someone who is a consumer of goods and services. I long to see a day where people were prideful about adhering to a certain level of professionalism when it comes to their approach to their work, their job, their craft, whatever the hell it is that you're doing. And so that's the place that I speak from when I defend Shannon Sharp scolding Chad, because I think in Shannon's mind, he genuinely wants to see Chad elevate. And in his mind, whether you agree with it or not, him doing that is one of the ways that he can help Chad elevate. Now, whether it had to happen on stream or on camera, I agree with that. I feel like Shannon could have collected his emotions. They could have done the show. And then off camera, they could have had a conversation. They didn't need to have that play out live on air. So that's what I agree with. Not necessarily did he have to throw him under the bus publicly, but this idea that we're going to do this professionally, and I don't care if it's a YouTube show like this right here, Conscious Approach. I approach doing this with a certain modicum of punctuality and respect to professionalism. And we ain't making money doing this, but I take that seriously enough because I don't want to be disrespectful of my time or your time. It's a certain level of common courtesy that you should afford someone that you're working with and collaborating with. And not enough people care about that stuff. And it's very annoying. It's very aggravating. I don't know what the hell has happened with this basic lackadaisical, just laissez-faire, I don't give a damn approach to life in general, much less professionalism. But people are just on this, I don't give a damn. People are just on that nowadays. It's weird. I don't know if it's too much social media, too much internet. I don't know, too much Fortnite, too many video games. I don't know what it is, but people are just on this whole whatever, and that part I don't appreciate because it starts affecting me. I need you to change this policy. Call me back, bro. I need an update. I need an update on what we're doing on this landscaping. Email me back, bro. Why do I have to follow up with you for a follow-up? And I know you see that happening too.
I mean, I do that all day at work. My whole job is chasing people down.
So it's like, what are we doing here, people? Like, so I'm going to say I hear where Shannon's coming from on that level. Whether it had to have, whether it had to be handled publicly on the show, no, that was distasteful. So I hear you on that for sure. But I guess for me personally, speaking from the standpoint of people need to take professionalism more seriously in general. I hear that, and I would approach it the same way, just not publicly. I'll do it privately.
Yeah, agreed. And that's my whole point, is that there's tiers of professionalism. So because the way he talking like he the supervisor. You know, I gotta show you the way. Yeah, we doing this together, but I gotta show you the way on how to make this bag. So that's how he's talking to him. So if you're talking to a lower level employee who clocks in late all the time, yeah, you know, that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? But you're trying to get him to be like the supervisor, like you are. So if you trying to take this guy under your wing and he's doing these things that aren't the level of professional, that's fine. But what Shannon did was he showed out in front of his friends in the supervisor world. You know what I'm saying? He had to dunk on them real quick. And so to me, there's levels and tiers of professionalism. So yes, Chad Ocho, he's doing the lower tier thing, but you're trying to raise him up. So this is part of his growing pains. And he has to be mature enough, professional enough, how to handle that live on air. He should also be professional enough to know how to handle technical difficulties when they're happening. But he got in his little diva bag. He got in his personal bag. You know what I'm saying? It's probably got the poodle in it. And when he did that, he got upset on air and, you know, launched an unprofessional way of carrying himself. So he can try to say all the stuff that he wants, all this big boy talk of, hey, bro, I'm getting all this money and I'm trying to show you how to get these money with these corporate people. We got to have all this stuff. But no, even that explanation on your live platform was unprofessional. So address this in another way. Apologize to Chad Ocho on air. Don't sit here and say I'm trying to guide him along and he can vouch for this. I ain't saying nothing that I ain't say behind. No, keep that behind closed doors. So the only thing that you have continued to do was son Chad Ocho in the sense that, hey, I'm separating myself from this Negro. I don't act like him. I'm prompt. And so that was very unprofessional of him to be saying on air. So if he wanted to handle this situation, hire brothers, have people in the back to say that, hey, I'm hiring these people. I got these people. I'm hiring these black people. I'm trying to woo, 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 woo. Hey, man, sometimes you're going to deal with a little stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I would ask for him to be a lot more mature in that situation. I'll be a lot more professional in that situation. There's times when I'm sitting there and I'm doing my thing at work and something wants to give out, you know, electronically. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, I've had a hell of a day at home, you know, but I still have to be able to be professional in front of all these people. So I'm not going to sit here and slam the desk and, you know, woe is me. You know, hey, man, you got to let that roll off your back. And then, you know, vent to yourself once the camera's off. So I agree with your stance, man. Professionalism is in the pits. I don't know, everywhere I go, okay, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's the grocery store, okay, nobody wants to be anywhere. And you say, but you're saying like, hey, man, you know, where's this coming from? This is a generational thing for sure, because, you know, it was in me, you know, it was definitely in me. So I get when these younger people don't have that thing to say, hey, you know, I at least got to put up something to work here. They don't give a damn at all.
It's not just that. It's not just generational. I think it's economic. I think people feel like they're no longer being paid enough to be professional. That's what I think. I think it's economically motivated. I think generally speaking, because I see old people not giving a shit either. It's not just young people. And I think it's economically motivated. I feel like it's like I said, people want to do the most. People want to get paid the most, but do the least. And like people feel like, oh, if I'm not getting paid enough, I don't care. That's the whole thing. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I ain't getting paid enough. They ain't paying me enough to blah 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 blah. That's the mentality.
That's
And
right.
and and the whole thing is in your mind. And the whole thing is, okay, well, what is your perception of paid enough? What does that mean? Like, what? How much should you be compensated to feel as though your professionalism is commensurate with the money
Six
that you
figures.
are being paid to do
$1
something?
million.
And exactly, no one really knows. No one knows. No one knows. But it's not just generational. It's economically motivated, I think. And there's just a lot of people who are walking around. They're empty vessels. They don't know what their purpose is in life. They're floating their way through everything, but they know they still want to be paid. You know, that's the weirdest thing about it is people are floating through life. They haven't figured out their passion, their purpose. They don't know why they're here or what they're meant for. But they do know they want to get that money. They know they want the bag. They know they want the house and the car and all of this stuff, but they have no purpose. And instead of realizing that once you discover the purpose, all of that stuff will come, they just lament the sad state of their life. And then they approach professionalism with that same lack of urgency when it comes to lamenting, woe is me, I'm a victim, life sucks, and I'm not getting enough money. And, you know, it's just this whole sickness going on with respect to human behavior.
Yeah.
But, you know, I get it. You know, I think I hear where you're coming from. I'm not going to come down as hard on Shannon for this as you, albeit I hear where you're coming from, because I really, really take this kind of the overarching conversation around professionalism. Personally, I take that seriously. And it's due to how much unprofessionalism I am surrounded by on a daily basis. And I'm over it. I'm really over it.
And
And I don't care if it's I don't give a damn what. I don't care if you selling waters on the side of the street. I don't care if you volunteering at Goodwill. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're making a lot of money doing it or no money doing it. I don't care if it's a nonprofit. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, Popeyes, Walmart. I don't care if you're a paralegal. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't give a shit what you're doing. You have to be respectful of people's time, and you have to be respectful of the fact that people are patronizing whatever it is that you're doing.
Agreed.
And you cannot look at yourself as this consummate victim all the time because you feel like life has dealt you a bad hand. And so because life has dealt me a bad hand, I don't care about being professional because I don't give a damn. And there's just way too many people walking around living like that. And they really do need a reality check. What I can appreciate from Shannon Sharp is, by all appearances, he has somewhat of a zero tolerance policy within reason when it comes to that. But to your point, and I agree with this, how you approach dealing with people when there is a lack of an understanding or when y'all aren't on the same page says a lot about your like temperament and how you handle things professionally as well. So I get that point too. But I'm looking at it from a bigger picture standpoint of people just across the board sucking when it comes to being professional, being responsible, being punctual, being accountable for how they approach just doing things in life. People really do need a reality check around here.
I agree. And this is the last thing I'll say is I believe it's multifaceted, of course. It's not just one driving force, but I do believe, you know, a large component of it is generational. And like if I have a phone conversation that's customer service and I'm actually talking to a representative, and I get that top tier service, like this lady, you know what I'm saying? She wants to, make a meal for me afterwards or something. Like, damn, man, it's an older woman.
Yeah.
It's an older woman. And the younger you get, the more monotone, the more, hey man, anything else you need, bro? Damn. Hey, bro, look, man, what's going on? It's like I'm bothering him. You know what I'm saying? So that's the younger they get. And of course, and yes, bro, I hear your point with professionalism, overarching. And my thing is, I'm throwing Shannon in there because the one thing that I can't stand about certain professionals is the fact that they think they're better than other people.
Yeah, yeah,
professional.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, a real problem is people who are nasty and disrespectful, but they code it as, this is how I'm being professional, or this is how I'm going to teach you to be professional.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
yeah, that's counterproductive. That's counterproductive too.
Yeah, and so my thing is that to me, I lumped him in that boat because I'm watching this. I'm watching this, and if I was some top tier exec, now I see how this guy acts when he gets flustered live. Now I'm seeing how, hey, there's all kind. You're gonna run into all kind of stimuli doing live shows. So let me see how this guy acts when a shiftless Negro does something shiftless, and he did it, and then he showed out like how he did. So my thing is that he failed the professional test in my book. But I get what you're saying. But if he's so high and mighty, handle yourself better. That's all I gotta say. And so I get your point too. Yeah, but I just think that I was disappointed in how he handled that, because this guy's so well spoken and how he handles himself with everything else. I'm surprised that he went down that road. So it must be a habitual thing with this dude for him to lose his temper like that on air. But still, nevertheless, man, if you want to sit there and throw stones, just make sure you're not in a glass house in this situation, in my opinion. And I think he was. So yeah. But best of luck to Shay and Ocho, man. But what more do you expect from a man who eats McDonald's every day? Of course he's gonna be late. Okay. So come on, man. Let the man slide.
Yeah, he need time to wake up from his GMO coma.
Oh man, let the man slide, man.
Oh yeah, shouts out to Shannon Ash and Ocho, man. I think they got a good show going, and hopefully there's no rift. But I feel you. I hear. I think we're both right. I can't stand dealing with these people nowadays and just not being professional. It really grates me. It really
charge it to the game. I just try to do everything myself now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which takes me back to my general lack of faith in humanity. It all ties into that, because the more I encounter stuff like this, the more I'm just like, you know what? I got such low expectations for y'all. Y'all can't make me mad anymore, because I don't expect much from you.
I cook my own. I eat out. I cook my. I rather make my own food. Yeah. I rather make my own food. I rather do my own thing. Like, there's certain things that I see and I'll get service done for it, and I go, you know what? I'm tired of this shardy service. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm with you, bro. It's everywhere.
Yeah, I wash my own car. Yeah, all of that.
I do it all, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. But that'll do it for tonight's stream. Good topics, good stuff. JV wins, Dogon SS once again, right back at you. Check us out, Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach. I am on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or every other video. We certainly appreciate you as we continue to rock and roll and build out this community. Thank you so much for supporting our brand of logical content. And until next time, go Heat, go Dolphins. And think for yourself, and have a great, productive, wonderful, and professional week. Please be professional.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, and on TikTok, and on YouTube, on DraftKings, on what's the other thing they got out there? FanDuel. Golly. Come holler at your boy, man. Dogon_SS. And as I say on every pod, everyone. All right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot, even if you're doing 60 in a 40. You know what I'm saying? So the next time, my peoples, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yes, sir. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to Worm. Shouts out to Terrence McClendon. Shouts out to Dallas Lewis. We appreciate y'all, man.
And even if Marcus Dudley ain't there, shout out to Marcus Dudley.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to Dudley, man. Real OG of the channel. Appreciate y'all, man. We are out of here. Until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.
Oh, sharp. Yeah, go Kings. Go Heat. Yeah.